Good morning, CWA leaders, delegates, and guests to the 2024 Legislative Political Conference. I'm so glad to be with you this morning. It's been almost 1 year since I was elected president of CWA, which is a little hard for me to believe. Together, we have accomplished so much since last summer. This is the Legislative Political Conference, and I have a lot to say about the upcoming election. So I'm not going to get into the details right now, but I do want to say this, like I said at the convention. After I was elected last year, this isn't about me. Our union, our great union, is all about us coming together to make a difference each and every day. We are so fortunate to have the most talented leadership team in the labor movement, starting with our Secretary-Treasurer, Amina Salam. Stand up, Amina. Stand up. Let's give her a round of applause. Give her a round of applause. Amina, every day, spends every minute of her day making sure that our members' dues are being used in the most efficient and effective way possible to build our power and strengthen our union. I know some of you were able to see her financial presentation yesterday and learn about all the cost savings she has identified. Over $1 million. Thank you so much, Amina, for that. With the other executive board members who are here today, please stand up to be acknowledged. Stand up, executive board. Give them a round of applause if you would, please. Thank you all so much for your dedication to our members and our fight. I want to recognize and thank my Chief of Staff, Sylvia J. Ramos. She's been my right hand for over a decade. Having her by my side has made my transition into this job nearly seamless. She has played a critical role in my meetings with AT&T to protect retiree pensions and jobs. We also have an incredible group of staff in our districts and sectors and at headquarters. I frequently worked with the headquarters staff while I was Vice President of District 6, but over the past year, I've really gotten to know them, and let me tell you, they never give up. Give them a round of applause if you would, please. Their experience and guidance have been invaluable to me this year. I know we have some retirees here. The Retired Members Council Board met earlier this week, and let me tell you, they are doing a great job. Our retirees build our union, and we must continue to fight for them. Retirees, stand up. Retirees, stand up. Stand up, retirees, stand up. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge any and all military currently serving or veterans we have in the audience. If you're a member of the military, please stand if you would. Please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. We owe you all a debt of gratitude for your sacrifices. Another thing I talked about after I was elected last year was trust and transparency. I realize we will disagree at times, but I will always be honest with you about where I stand and why. Our country is polarized today in ways we've never seen before. It's become increasingly difficult for us to talk to each other about our differences. Instead of trying to find common ground, we retreat to our separate corners, just itching for a fight. Unfortunately, that happens in our union too. So I'm asking you this morning to please hear me out. If you disagree with me, fine. I'm happy to have a conversation and hear your point of view, as long as we can have respectful dialogue. I've been traveling around the country a lot this past year, talking with CWA members and retirees at conferences and at their work sites. One of the things I'm talking about is how important it is, how absolutely necessary it is to re-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And the people that don't like that often say that they don't listen to the union when it comes to elections, because CWA is in the pocket of the Democratic Party. That simply is not true. Our union has supported both Democrats and Republicans. Party politics don't matter. Whether you red or blue is beside the point. The only question that matters to me is, are you with us, the workers, or not? Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I'm going to look at every candidate's record and see whether they have stood with us. And if they won't stand with us, then we won't stand with them. Our endorsements and our support will go to the best candidate for union members each and every time, regardless of party. Simple as that. We've never had a perfect president. CWA has disagreed on many decisions presidents have made. President Clinton on NAFTA, President Obama on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And we have not been silent about our disagreements. Many Democratic candidates have run for office who didn't do a damn thing for us, did not co-sponsor important bills, did not show up to picket lines. So when they come asking for our endorsement and our PATH money, we tell them no. At times, we even launched primary challenges against them. We haven't been silent. When we have disagreed with President Biden, and we don't hesitate to push him for more, but the truth is, what President Biden has done to support and strengthen the labor movement far exceeds what any other president has ever done. We are able to push for more because he has welcomed us into the conversation. And he has made sure that labor has a seat at the table. He has earned our endorsement, our trust, and our respect. Like many of you, I've been reading stories about the election for months. I've been looking at the polls, and a few things stand out for me. First, people just don't know what President Biden and Vice President Harris have accomplished. They don't give the Biden administration credit for the positive improvements they have continuously made for working people. And they blame the administration for decisions that Trump's Supreme Court justices made to restrict reproductive freedom or the corporate greed that has been driving up the prices of basic necessities. The list of the Biden administration's accomplishments, particularly for union members and working people, is long. In your conference packet, you have a booklet called Winning with Biden that lists a lot of them. I'm not going to stand up here and read it to you. The bottom line is that Joe Biden pledged to have a pro-union administration, and he has delivered on that promise. Simple as that. The investments that Joe Biden has made in broadband infrastructure, semiconductor manufacturing, and green transportation and energy will revitalize our communities and create jobs, union jobs. He's making sure of it. Just last month, his announcement of funding for an enormous microchip manufacturing facility specifically said that the company Micron would sit down with CWA, let me say that again, with CWA to discuss labor peace. Not just any union, but CWA. Why? Why? Because he listens and he respects what we stand for and what we can accomplish as a union. During the height of the COVID crisis, he provided financial support to prevent layoffs and help keep hundreds of thousands of state and local employees, flight attendants, and passenger service agents on the job. And the things, that's right, clap for that. And the thing he has done for our retirees. Thanks to the Biden administration, Medicare can now directly negotiate to lower the price of prescription drugs, something that we and our allies have been pushing for decades. Several presidents, that's right, clap for that. Several presidents have tried to make this happen. Even Trump promised he would do it. but it was Joe Biden who got it done. And this is one that I really don't think many people are aware of, even though it is huge. Through the American Rescue Plan, Joe Biden has made sure that multi-employer pension plans can continue to cover full benefits for the retirees that have earned them. These plans are often in crisis due to factors beyond the plan's controls. A lot of CWA members and retirees are covered by these plans, including IUE CWA and the News Guild CWA. And just 2 weeks ago, the federal government announced it was stepping in to save the pensions of over 24,000 CWA members who are covered by the ITU pension plan. Without this grant, the plan was projected to become insolvent by 2029. He's the only sitting president to have joined a picket line with striking workers. Listen, I've been there. He has welcomed us into the White House to talk with his senior advisors about issues we are facing on the job and how the federal government can support the creation of good union jobs and ensure that technologies such as AI are used responsibly and not to surveil and replace us, but to improve our workplace. He's done that. Joe Biden and the people he has appointed see us as partners, not props. They have gotten to know us, and we have gotten to know them. When we call, they answer. You don't have to take it from me. I have something to share with you this morning, a new video that we put together called A Seat at the Table.
To me, it means a lot that the President of the United States cares about workers and working families. It's about time, because we feel like we have a seat at the table.
For decades, corporate-backed politicians have traded away our jobs for profits. But with President Joe Biden, we've seen a change.
Plus, the investment we're making in high-speed internet means something else as well. Good paying jobs. Just ask the folks at the International Brotherhood of Electric Workers, IBEW, or the Communication Workers Union.
I want to recognize all the labor unions here today. Communications workers, boilermakers, machinists.
Well, I think it really plays into the fact that he actually does care about the workers. It's not just lip service. He's putting his money where his mouth is, right? He wants to hear from the people who are on the front lines.
CWA members from across the country are working side by side with President Biden and his pro-union, pro-worker administration.
We've had an opportunity to share our comments in regards to why it's important to have prevailing wages, good health care, why it's important to have a trained workforce.
Whether it's accomplishments like building out high-speed internet with strong labor protections, reinforcing Buy American rules and the rebuilding of American manufacturing, or strengthening rules that protect our right to organize and bargain, we know that this is an administration that listens to us and works with us to create good union jobs.
Unions do have a voice, but I have a voice, and my voice actually matters.
This November, let's stand with President Joe Biden and protect our seat at the table.
Isn't that great? Every single person in that video, including the voiceover, is a CWA member. Give them a round of applause. That video is going to go live on our social media accounts later today, and we will text out a link to all of you so you can share it. There's one, that's right, clap. You can clap. There's one thing about Joe Biden's record that I want to address. Sometimes, even after I've laid out all of his accomplishments, someone will say, well, that's fine, but what about the rail workers? He blocked them from going out on strike over paid sick leave. And it's true. Congress passed a bill imposing a tentative agreement on the rail workers, and Joe Biden signed it. But no one remembers the rest of the story. When he blocked the strike, He promised to continue to work to resolve the paid leave issue. He worked with the unions to keep the pressure up on the companies. And a few months later, the workers reached an agreement on paid leave with the railroads. You know why? Because Joe Biden kept his word. Again, he kept his word. So remember that. Please remember that when you are talking to someone about voting for Joe Biden and they bring up the railroad strike. Tell them the rest of the story. The second thing that stands out to me about the polls and the stories about the election is the number of people, especially young people and people of color, who say they aren't going to vote or who are going to vote for a third-party candidate. They don't necessarily like Donald Trump or what he stands for, but they are not motivated to vote for Joe Biden. Listen, this election is going to be close, very close. We all know the story from the past several election cycles. This is going to depend on a few thousand votes in a handful of states. I am concerned we're going to have a repeat of what happened in 2000 when voters who were unenthusiastic about Al Gore voted instead for third-party candidate Ralph Nader. Think about how different, just think about this. Think about how different the world might be today if just 600 more votes in Florida had voted for Al Gore. That is why our work is so important. Every single vote will matter. Now, we know that the most effective way to reach voters is through face-to-face conversations. We know that. Not TV or social media ads, not mailers or phone calls, although those have their places. The most effective thing going is face-to-face conversations, and no groups are more well-positioned to have real conversations than unions. It's our superpower. Every election cycle, we do this through workplace engagement, door-to-door labor walks. We have the ability to make the difference this November. The labor movement can connect with voters, register voters, and turn out voters in a way no other institution can. And we know that our members listen to us, particularly when it comes to economic issues. The number one thing that people are concerned about in this election is the rising cost of living. We need to tell them about the things that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done and plan to do to help working people make ends meet. We need to tell them that Joe Biden is reducing the cost of prescription drugs. We need to tell them that Joe Biden will protect Social Security and our retirement benefits. We need to tell them that Joe Biden wants to make sure that large corporations are paying their fair share of taxes. We need to tell them that Joe Biden is creating good jobs by investing in our communities. Our choice is clear. It's very clear. I can't understand how some union presidents can pander to a candidate that wants to be a dictator. We saw the damage Trump did to all workers when he was president. And we have seen over and over again, when people get involved with him, he demands total loyalty. Union presidents, first and foremost, must be loyal to their members and to working people, not to parties or politicians. That's what I have done, and that's what I will continue to do. I've talked a lot so far about the presidential election, and make no mistake, we must re-elect Joe Biden. We also have to ensure that there are pro-worker majorities in the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives. Joe Biden was able to move his agenda during the first 2 years of his presidency to pass the American Rescue Plan, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and the Inflation Reduction Act, because he had the majority in the Senate and in the House. His hands have been tied a bit since then, although he and his administration are doing everything they can with the tools available to them. So we're looking to our members in Ohio to re-elect Sherrod Brown. We must re-elect him. He is one of our best friends our members have in the Senate. He's in a tough tough race, maybe one of the toughest in this country. But with our help, he can win. Arizona, we need you to re-elect Ruben Gallego. We need that. He is a true champion for working people, unlike his predecessor, who almost single-handedly blocked the PRO Act and increases to minimum wage. In Pennsylvania, we've got to keep Bob Casey in the Senate. Year in and year out, Senator Casey has been a champion for our call center workers. We have an open seat in Michigan and need someone who can fill the shoes of Debbie Stabenow. Wisconsin's Tammy Baldwin has been passionate about reining in corporate stock buybacks, making the big banks accountable to customers and workers, and strengthening Buy American laws. Her likely opponent is a multimillionaire banking executive. In Nevada, Jackie Rosen is fighting for her Senate seat. Senator Rosen was critical to making sure we had high labor standards for broadband in the infrastructure bill to make sure that it creates good union jobs. And give him a round of applause. And in Texas and Florida, we have a chance to send I promise I wasn't going to cuss. We have a chance to send Ted Cruz and Rick Scott, two of the most terrible anti-union corrupt senators, back home and replace them with senators who will have our back. We're going to have a postcard signing here for Angela Alsobrooks, who is running for the open Senate seat in Maryland. Maryland is a tricky state. We think of it as a blue state, but she's running against a very popular Republican former governor. So it's on our watch list. And we have House races all around the country. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries is going to be here tomorrow. That's right, clap for him. We need to make sure that come January, he is the Speaker of the House. There is no excuse for any of our members not to be involved. I know you are here because you get it. Your job is to make sure that other people get it too. You know, I keep a slip of paper with me all the time from the so-called good old days, the days some people want us to go back to. It's my father's poll tax receipt, right up there on the screen. Some of you may never have seen an actual receipt. But in those same good old days, black people who wanted to exercise their most basic right to vote had to pay $1.50 in 1946 to be able to vote. I keep this as a reminder of where we've been and where we can never go back to. The right to vote is precious and has been paid for in blood. And it is inexcusable that anyone would ever just throw it away, especially when there is as much at stake as there is in this election. We need to turn out and we need to vote. Women, your time is now. We need your voices and your votes. Young people, your time is now. Your future is on the line. Talk to your friends and your coworkers. If they aren't registered to vote, get them connected. Make sure they get a ballot. Make sure they vote. Black and brown members, make it your mission to motivate voters. Don't wait until September, October. That's too late. Do it now. Retirees, you could be the ones to save this election. Retired folks and folks over 60 are sticking with the president, and they are reliable voters. Let's get our retirees involved. Let's do it. I know they want to help. You just need to reach out to them. And I can go on and on, but the bottom line is this. we have a clear choice this coming November. One man stands to defend democracy and the institutions we hold dear, including our union. The other spent 4 years dismantling those same institutions and has vowed to finish the job if elected for a second term. I can't have that, neither can you. We can't have it. No matter what anyone promises, I'm looking at their track record, and Joe Biden's the clear winner when it comes to the work he's done for us and with us. We as a union and as a nation need to be looking forward to a brighter future our children will inherit. The future doesn't arrive all the time packaged neatly with a bow on top. It's the results of the struggles and the victories we create today. I'm not interested in going back. Y'all say it with me. We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. There is no time in the past I can think of that is better than the promise of what we have in our future. So I know this is going to be a great conference. You're going to hear from some really terrific elected leaders, and you're going to hear from CWA members who have benefited from Joe Biden's policies. Listen closely to their stories so you can share them when you get back home. You know, there's an old song that I love called We Are One by Frankie Beverly and Mays. It's a great song. I got to hear them perform it recently, and the lyrics really hit home with me. Lyrics are this: can't understand why we treat each other in this way, taking up time with the silly, silly games we play. We've got our love, and no matter how it's said or done, we are one. No matter what we do, we are one. Love will see us through. Now, they're talking about love in that song, but those lyrics make me think about our union. Our union is what we see is what will see us through every time. But too often, we fight among ourselves, distrusting each other based on where we work or our job titles. That's the boss's game. They want to see us divided. That's just the truth. But what I need to know right now is this: are you ready to put aside your differences and work side by side to win this election? Are you ready? Talk back to me. Are you ready? If so, say it with me. Say it with me. We are one. We are one. We will protect our democracy. We will protect our union. We will protect future generations. One union, one fight. One union, one fight. One union, one fight. We don't play at CWA. We don't play at CWA. We don't play at CWA. Thank you. Have a great conference.